I was proud of myself for finding the place. We came, I think, twice, and every time Devin and I got so lost trying to find the building, and this was like the quickest I found it. I texted her, I was like, you would not believe how fast I just found the Dear Media building.
I make the joke so frequently that if you are a guest and you find your way to the Dear Media building and you're here, I heard you were like in the lobby at like 4:10.
I did it in like 3 minutes.
I was like, she's here at 4:10.
I was like, oh god, it's
that means that you got here
find it?
Like long enough to make your way through the labyrinth of Los Angeles.
I was really proud of it.
It really is the craziest place ever.
Yeah.
I know, it's amazing. Anyways, hey Sid, welcome to Let's Get Dressed. How are you?
It.
You made it.
I made it.
We're thrilled. And you're so tan.
You think?
No, it's like really.
I, after the sunburn, obviously have been peeling. And I get so sad because I'm like, does that mean my tan is like peeling off of me? And then
I think that too. And I actually just had I had a tan from my honeymoon and my arms were like dry, and I was like, no, this is the end. No.
Yeah.
But then I think of
back to spray.
Where do you go? Who do you see?
Honestly, I kind of venture out and around.
Okay.
And see, because it's still so hard for me to spray in the sheets. Yeah, it's tough. I'm trying to take over the sun as much as we can until it's
getting a spray tan is the greatest thing ever, but also still the least innovative thing we do as women. Like why?
Why?
We've got bricks on our nails. Like our nails are really evolved. Like the hair has evolved, the face has evolved.
But
we've evolved, but the tan
hasn't
one bit. It still smells like why?
It smells. It gets on the sheets. It's like on your hands.
It's
weird.
So bad. It's so bad.
I've had eras of doing it consistently, but honestly, when I look back at that too, I'm like, that obviously looks like a fake tan.
I know.
And now I just can't get myself to consistently do it.
Like you're glowing right now, and I wouldn't be like, this is spray tan. I know. I know. You have to walk me through this incredible outfit today because you are just summer in a human form.
Thank you.
So in the sun, in the tan, in the sunburn, in the dress, in the shoes.
I'm trying to really get use of all my sundresses before it's fall.
I know. Tell me what's going on. It's like a beautiful, for those listening audibly, it's like the cutest blue summer dress with matching blue ballet flats. I'm dying. Mary Jane's.
The ballet flats are Sandy Liang, of course. This is Danielle Guzio.
Cute.
So cute. Been loving all her dresses recently.
Really repping the New York City brands today.
My girls.
I love that.
It. And it just happened to match perfectly too.
No, it's God, there's nothing more satisfying to me than when the colors match.
And it's accidental.
And it's just perfect. You're like, oh shit, these two things that I got that weren't meant to match in my closet are just perfect.
Magic.
No, it's so good. I love your style, which you know. And
Thank you.
every time I see you, you're dressed to the nines, which I love. You're a dresser like me.
Yeah.
You love to get dressed up. You're always in, whether it's the glam, the look. And I want to hear a little bit about that ethos and where that comes from, and when you're getting dressed every day, what's going through your head? What's happening?
How does it happen?
Yeah.
I feel like my style has evolved so much over the years, but when I look back at photos and stuff, I really think I was just trying to find what I liked and find my style and what made me feel good. So when I look back at photos, I'm like, wow, I was really venturing out there at different periods of time, and I'm like, I was just trying to find my style. Can't hate, appreciate those camo pants that I used to wear and those checkered everything. It really went all out to being just okay, now I'm gonna tame
the beast.
And I just currently love pieces that I can wear more than once and have forever and feel so amazing in, and that has been the longest steady style, I guess, thing that I love recently.
I'm working on giving myself grace for these eras because I feel like my 20s were so messy in terms of what I was wearing. Oh yeah.
It's funny to look back on it. There was a little bit where I was like, why would I do that? Why did I think that was cool? But then I was like, you know what? That's all part of who I am now.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And I honestly love and don't think I'm going to be cringed out by the things I'm wearing now and the things I'm into. It feels very long term, and it's honestly been my favorite too. I'm so comfortable with what I wear now, and slowly finding things I like. Like, I have been obsessed with Etsy and shopping on Etsy. They have such good vintage dresses and things. My obsession right now is like the 50s, 60s dressing vintage era, and Etsy has like so much good stuff on there.
Is it like, is it designer or is it
I don't even,
I always,
there's a mix.
I mean, I get served that all the time. Even when I was like wedding shopping, I would get served like Etsy, like bridal stuff. And I'd be like, is this, can you trust this? Or like, do we not really care?
There's like so many different shops on there that do like vintage and stuff, but all the brands are, I mean, so many vintage brands I've never heard of, but make the coolest, like just detailed, fun. That era is like my favorite right now. I feel like it goes along too with like my cooking vibe and everything, but those dresses and like patterns, it's just so fun. And I feel like that's another side of me that's not like also every day, but it's like a fun persona type of me too that I love.
Do you feel like cooking Sydney is a persona?
It's really is me, but I tap into the persona and like exaggerate it.
For sure. And I think I'm obsessed with chefs on TikTok and on Instagram. It is the number one thing I'm paying attention to the most. Mm-hmm. And Chef Sydney is like my favorite era of Sydney. And I also love that you're saying that you feel like your style right now is like something you're never going to regret. Like this is who you are. You're most happy. And like, I can't help but think that like that also has to do with like you finding this really lovely niche for yourself. Mm-hmm. But I keep wanting to like dive into why we're all kind of obsessed with chefs on Instagram, especially like it's so interesting to hear you say that like the 50s, 60s is kind of where you want to live in terms of like how you want to be dressing. Yeah. And there's this whole conversation of like Tradwives on Instagram, like the Nara Smiths of the world, the ballerina farms of the world. Like, what do you think?
Which people have so much to say about recently.
So it's like, my entire TikTok.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? How do you feel about it?
I mean, my obsession too on Instagram, literally yesterday I was looking at my explore page and it's like every single photo is food and then like a bulldog and then all food. Like that has been my feed for so long. So this like tapping into it more, I think it's been just a year now of posting cooking videos, which is crazy, but that's always been something that I absolutely loved and has been like a passion of mine, is like just food and cooking in general. So that was my whole Instagram and social feed too for so long. But I love seeing people cook and make these videos. Like I love it. That's my full entertainment and what I like to watch. I feel like there's a side of it that, I mean, there could be anything when things become maybe a trend or talked about more. People always have something to say that's not always positive, which I think goes for anything. But when something becomes popular, people always want to hate on it.
100%.
I'm just like, if people are doing things they love doing and are having fun doing it, why do you care? Like, who cares?
That was kind of my whole thing with the ballerina farm situation, was that I felt like the internet created a whole narrative about like what was going on in their life,
like
for
on her own, like literally spoke for her.
It was crazy.
And that's what I was being fed. I was like, is this coming from her?
Me
or is
too.
This the internet being like, we have decided this is her situation, this is what's happening?
And I also think that's just kind of the scary power of journalism, is like one person kind of created this narrative. Mm-hmm. And honestly, like I've consumed her content for a long time, and I was like, oh, this just seems like I love watching her cook, and I love watching her with her kids.
Mesmerizing, her whole vibe and everything. I'm like, I feel like I'm in her world when I'm watching it.
Me too. And like, it's not my place to create a narrative for her. And I honestly, I was really happy to see her make that statement of just being like, we're gonna have more kids, and like this is our life, and we've chosen this together. That was pretty wild to see. But I do think that we kind of have, the internet kind of has this obsession, both in like a good way and an unhealthy way, of like creating this narrative. I don't even like that like the Tradwife narrative was brought up around the idea of like women cooking in like amazing outfits. That's so literally annoying. Where I think it's coming from.
I'm like, that's like the most fun thing ever to me, is like putting on a fun outfit and cooking. Like, why does that have to take that narrative? It just like, that annoys me so much.
I think that's like kind of misogynistic in its own way. It's
totally.
like, We don't.
That's like their first thought.
Yeah,
Instead
it's like,
of
she's giving
just, like,
Tradwife.
loves dressing up and food.
I mean,
that's it.
Do you match your clothes to your food? Like,
yes, I do.
Yes!
I literally do.
I'm so glad you gave me this answer. I was afraid you were going to be like the demure people out there being like,
no, I'm like blueberry muffins,
accidental.
blue dress, blue outfit.
I mean, the raspberry bra was iconic. Yeah, like of course.
That's like my favorite thing.
For you as someone who has like dressed up and like partaken in Instagram culture and like built so much of your career around it, of course you're going to incorporate that into it. Like, tell me, okay, so you're like planning and you're like, I'm going to buy X for this. Like, are you on Etsy right now seeing pieces being like, I'm going to build a recipe around that?
Yeah. Especially with these vintage stuff that are so special and like just so different from, like, they're just so unique. So it'll be like something really fun and it'll just like inspire me also for a recipe. Like it goes back and forth too with the recipe being like, oh, I have this dress that would totally be cute with that. Like they go hand in hand.
What are your, like, do you have Etsy sellers that you love?
Honestly, I have them all saved, but there's so many I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. But I have,
how did you find
so
them?
Many saved. I would start by searching like vintage 60s dress and then click on one that's cute, go to that store, and then they usually have like a full list of dresses that they sell and shirts and skirts, and I would just find like good sellers by doing that, follow them, find another, like literally in bed every night. That's what I'm doing.
That sounds so dangerous. Oh my God.
It's so dangerous, but it's so fun.
This is the first I'm really hearing. I always hear about Etsy for home, Etsy for like, I have a friend who like has a daughter and makes the most like creative, incredible things from her on Etsy.
Yeah.
And I just haven't heard about it for clothing. So this is so intriguing to me.
I know. It's honestly a newer thing too for me. My sister is the best shopper ever. I mean, always,
I've been in that closet, girl.
She is like
I've been in that closet.
The number one shopper on anything, in person, online, any app. She honestly has taught me a lot, but I always hated shopping in person. Like I would go with her and be the one sitting in the one chair in the store, like sitting there waiting for her. So when I discovered things like Etsy, I'm like, oh, I could lay in bed and do this, and it's so fun. And now it makes me want to shop in person. She kind of got me into liking shopping.
What's the best thing you've bought on Etsy?
I got a few of these like really pretty polka dot vintage dresses, and I'll always like become obsessed with the pattern. Like polka dot that week, obsessing with polka dot dresses, got like so many of them. Next week I found one last night that's like so pretty white, and it has like a tomato like sewn on it, a giant tomato. I was like,
oh, give us like a tomato tart, please. Give us something.
What can I do
a
with
galette,
this? Like I need it. So cute.
It took me a few minutes to process that you just said that you want to shop in person, because I just don't hear that often, and it's like ringing in my head now. Like, where do you and Devin go shopping?
Honestly, Devin the other day went to Squaresville in Silver Lake.
In Silver Lake. Okay, yes. I don't venture over there often, so I just take
Honestly, I don't either. But she was sending so many photos trying on stuff, and I was like, you're at Squaresville? Like, she found the cutest stuff, and she was sending in a group chat with me and Dean, and Dean was like, if you have an eye, you can shop anywhere.
I mean, I think maybe in a vintage store, yes.
Totally.
Because you can really dream up things, but like there are some stores that are just like, I walked into a store in Malibu the other day that was like 5 versions of the same shirt, but with like a different cut.
Yeah.
And like, I don't need an eye.
That's Malibu vibe though.
Yeah, it's just like you don't need an eye for that. But no. I agree with that sentiment in a vintage store for sure. Too. Like there's a lot of imagination that you can come up with, and just a lot there.
Yeah, and I'll go shopping with them. I'm like, okay, I'll go, but you guys have to come because I need your eye here.
Did you watch Lessons in Chemistry?
No.
Oh my God.
What is that?
No way. So it takes place in the late 1950s, early 1960s.
Okay.
Brie Larson. It's a show on Apple TV. And it was actually adapted from a book that was really popular. She was a scientist who would go home and cook for her daughter every day scientifically because she was a scientist.
Okay.
And she ends up being kind of the opposite of the archetype of the 1950s, 60s stay-at-home mom chef.
Yeah.
She's, not as personable and bubbly and all these things. And she ends up going into a TV studio one day because I guess the owner of the studio and her daughter, they went to school together. So she ends up stumbling into this place, and he was like, you're perfect for the show. You're like the of what anti-archetype of like what women are looking for right now, and it ended up being a massive success.
Whoa.
You should for sure watch it, because
I need to watch that.
First of all, you'll love the cooking element of it. Like, that's so beautiful to watch in and of itself. Also, the millions of other storylines. It was one of my favorite shows of last year.
Oh my God, okay.
But also her fashion is like really up your alley.
Cute.
And I just think it's been a really cool year, like between that show and between seeing so many different incredible female chefs pop up online. That archetype is shifting very interestingly. And I love to see the discourse online of how people are talking about chefs in the world. It's just fascinating.
I love it. And I'm so glad too. Like, I have been following now so many new chefs and people that I've like met online because of it. And it's so cool and such a fun world.
Who taught you how to cook?
Honestly, myself. I kind of just like started. I've always loved food, and I was like, what if I can make something that tastes this amazing on my own? Like, how rewarding would that be to eat something I made and be like, oh my God, this is incredible. So I started making like some of my favorite foods, like bolognese and like a chocolate chip cookie, just like things that I genuinely love myself, and then mastered it where I was like, oh my God, now I'm gonna crave what I made on my own. And it just started just slowly like expanding from there. And I would cook for my family, and my dad loves cooking now. He more recent years has started to cook. He's learning so much, and he'll like send me photos of what he makes every night too, with like the photo of it on the recipe book. It's so sweet. And he started a little garden in his backyard.
Oh my God, he would.
And now he sends me just harvest these tomatoes. It's like the sweetest
Look
thing.
what you started in your family. That is so cool. Like, yes. What I do love about the Carlsons is that when you all do things together. It's amazing to hear you say that you only started cooking a year ago, and that, well, you only started sharing it a year ago.
Yeah.
But I love that you're self-taught, because I think, at least for me, like I'm on Instagram and TikTok, and I see like you, and I see Meredith, and I see all these like chefs who I love, and I'm like, girl, I could never.
You can though. You
right.
can.
Like when you started, was it just like trial and error?
It's all trial and error. And like I just started filming a little longer type of cooking video situation show for YouTube.
Yes.
And
we love.
I'm being very open and honest in them, because I don't call myself a chef. I am not a trained professional at all, and I just want to be so real with everyone. Like, if I don't cut this the professional way, like, this is just the way I do it, you know? Like, I'm not trying to say I'm a professional chef at all or anything. Like, I'm a home cook and doing it because I love it and like learning, and that's it. And I love it.
But I think that's relatable, because 99% of the population, like none of us are trained in any way. And so whenever I do see trained chefs, I'm like, fuck, I could never, like I can't do that. So I love that it's like a little bit more approachable.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see people online making things, and it seems so easy, especially in those videos that are cut super fast and like edited. You're like, how did you just do that? And then I go and make something, and it literally will take me hours. And then you watch the video, and it's like less than a minute video. So I just want like
a little transparency,
just to be transparent.
Give us
like,
transparency.
You know,
give us an outfit, give us a recipe, and give us transparency.
A cut, like,
okay, speaking of which, like, how are you wearing cute? Like, what have you ruined? Like, what clothing have you ruined in Sydney Carlson's kitchen?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. But I honestly find like that the beauty of it too. I have this recipe book that I'll write all my recipes in, and it is like splattered on. It has like stains, and I am obsessed with it. I'm like, that's what makes it perfect. The clothes, as long as it comes out, it's fine.
Whatever.
That's that. And also that's like kind of my motto right now, is like, I am not afraid of being messy. And I think a lot of people get scared of cooking because of the dishes, because of the mess, because of the cleanup. And I want to go into this world like, who cares? If I'm gonna make the most delicious meal, there's 20 dishes in the sink, and I get to eat something that makes me so happy, it's fine. Like, I'm not afraid of the mess.
I love that, because I feel like I've experienced something very similar recently, which is that I've noticed that I'm someone who this is going to sound so cheesy, but like I genuinely don't appreciate the journey of a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm a box checker. So I'm like a to-do list girly. Like I love checking the box and just moving through things. And the journey of things, sometimes I can be very like not meticulous and not organized and just kind of rush through it. It's something I've noticed since I was young and always try to work through.
Yeah.
And with cooking, I've noticed I'm the same way. And I have really got into cooking the last year. I like meal prep. I like to cook for myself a lot. I really like the feeling of like going to the market, getting things that I know I'll cook throughout the week, and then that feeling the next week of being like, oh, I used everything. Like I cooked for myself. I'm kind of an efficiency nerd like that, if you haven't noticed.
I love that.
Like I really love that, but cooking has forced me to like enjoy the journey and like the process a bit more than the outcome, because while the outcome's good, that outcome is fleeting. It's like you're eating for like 10 minutes and you're cooking for 2 hours.
Totally.
So I've like tried to cook more for that reason, because it's really forcing me to like be meticulous and present in that moment and not just focus on the end. But I think that's why I love cooking videos so much. I'm like obsessed. I'm my obsessed. Entire TikTok is cooking. Like it's just been very inspiring.
Thank you.
I mean, I have to ask, because I feel like this is something, you and I are both fashion lovers, and this is something I would probably obsess over. Like, where are you getting, even I saw your shoot that you posted this morning, like it says Linny on the cute little sugar like cans. Like, where are you getting all the cute stuff for your kitchen that like makes there has to be something.
Well, that's kind of why I started Linny.
Yeah, you're like, I'm giving you guys cute
I was
stuff
like,
for
well,
the kitchen.
that's why. Because when I got into my love for food and cooking, obviously I was like, well, everything needs to be cute now.
Yeah.
That this is my workspace and this is where I'm going to be. I need everything to be cute. And it's honestly the same concept with Wildflower. Like, we're always on our phones. We need our phone for everything. Let's make it cute. And everything around it, like accessories to do with your phone, cute. And that honestly was my same thinking with this. Yeah. And the first drop had an apron, oven mitt, pot holder, and there's just so much more that I want to tap into, and patterns and colors, and like it's so early on in the beginning. I'm like antsy to do more.
I really love that you went for pink.
Thank you.
It's a statement, and I think so opposite of like a lot of the like tonal kitchens that we're seeing. Talk to me through the decision to go hot pink.
Yeah, the hot pink was really what pushed me to do this. A few years ago now, I was moving out of my parents' house, and I realized I didn't have any cookware to my name, because obviously I was using their things, and you don't think about that when you're moving out. You're like, oh, I don't have any cookware. So when I started looking, the first thing I wanted was a hot pink pan. Like, that's literally, that was in my head, that was my dream, that was what I wanted, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Everything was pretty tonal and a little muted, and I'm like a girl in my 20s that loves fashion, loves dressing up, and I'm like, I want something bright and bold and pink in my kitchen. And so I was like, am I about to do this? Like, is this what I'm gonna do? And I talked to my dad and was like, Dad, I have a crazy idea, but I think I'm ready. This is what I want to do. And he was like, if you're serious, like, put something together, show me, tell me what it would be like.
Oh my God, I love Manager Dave.
Manager Dave is so funny.
Manager Dave is so on it.
His dad hat, his manager hat is...
The manager hat goes crazy.
It's hilarious.
Put something together, I'll review it.
Put something together. Like, literally had to present to him.
As you should.
Talk him through everything. But honestly, I respect it so much. Even when Wildflower first started and I was 14, he made me clock in. I only got paid for those hours I clocked in. Like, everything has been so treated like as if it was any other person or job.
We all need a Manager Dave in our lives.
We need Manager Dave. And also at the end of the day, he's my dad and has the best. He's looking out for me
100%.
at the end of the day. So it's so awesome, like, working with him too, because I know he always has my back. But he believed in me. He believed in my idea and my passion. And that was like 3 years ago now. And we just launched, and that was why the pink pan.
Whoa, okay, so many questions from this. You pitched this 3 years ago.
Yes.
So something I admire deeply, like as someone on Instagram, and you too, I'm sure you see this all the time. I think a lot of us could get stuck in these molds of like what we kind of created for ourselves. What did it take for you to be like, I'm going to start posting these cooking videos? Especially the foresight 3 years ago to be like, I want to launch this cookware brand.
Yeah.
Were you like very planned with when you wanted to kind of launch the ethos? Like, tell me all about this.
I mean, from 3 years ago till now, I was cooking, not really posting it, but that was what kind of when it started, like getting more of a serious passion for me, like wanting to learn more about it, which is what was also driving me into wanting to make cookware. Was like, okay, this is really a passion of mine that I love doing. And having all the business experience from Wildflower, I was like, okay, I think this is what I want to do now. And it's separate from Wildflower, which also has been scary because obviously we've had the four of us to lean back on for any decision making and anything. It's been like a family thing. And I mean, learning how cookware is made is such a long and different process than a phone case, but has been such a fun journey. Very big learning experience. I thought I knew a lot, and whoa.
I'm sure just the material of like I know how serious people take the material and like the inside of a pan.
Yes.
Like that is a whole world in and of itself. It's so serious.
So much to learn. And I was like, oh, I'm coming into this with a lot of business experience from Wildflower. And I feel like I walked into a brand new door of everything, learning so much. The cooking videos, I knew I wanted to start leading up and posting those leading up to the launch of Linny, so people could start to actually see me in the cooking world. And it would make sense to drop a cookware line, knowing that this is now what I'm, posting and on my social and getting into that world. So that was fun leading up to that too, because it was kind of like a big switch for me, and people started seeing me in the cooking world. And then when this launched, it made so much sense. And
I remember I'm pointing at Lydia, we were sitting at home when I saw you post Linny, and I remember the two of us looking at each other, and literally we both went, makes sense. Makes sense.
No way.
Well, look, I think you and I are surrounded by so many incredible creatives, people who are doing amazing things, but launching a product is a big deal, especially today. It's not like it was 5 years ago where everyone and their mother was launching a product.
Yeah.
Now I think you really have to go into it with a really intentional mindset. And if it doesn't make sense with the brand that you already have, people are going to see that immediately. I think people on Instagram, just in general, on social media, are way savvier than they've ever been.
Oh, yeah.
And if it doesn't feel authentic to your brand and it doesn't work, it's not going to resonate.
Yeah, thank you. And
of course.
When I had that idea to do the cookware, I was like, okay, if I do this, I want to make it a whole world. Like, I want people to come in and see the world of Linny and me as this persona of Linny, and I want it to make sense. So from that idea to now, I definitely thought through this whole world and process for so long, because I wanted it to just be natural and genuine and have people believe me, because I was like, I know I love cooking, I know I love cookware and food and doing this, but no one else is me, and no one else is just going to believe me if I launch a random company out of nowhere. Like
100%.
Everyone needs to feel genuine, and you do have to work to show that to people, because not everyone just knows you.
I mean, even your campaign images, what's on the mood board of those campaigns? Because even the one you put this morning, the cheetah suit, the hair in the curlers, the pink pan, what is on the mood board for those?
The mood board is so awesome. The mood board honestly started 3 years ago. When that idea happened, it was side by side with the vibe of what I wanted the company to look like. And it is so outrageous and out there. And what also stuck out to me was I don't see any cookware brands marketing like this and being outrageous and not making sense and having a noodle wig. No one's doing that either. And that's what's making this so exciting for me too, is that's what I want this to be, is fabulous, messy, outrageous, but at the end of the day, whether you're a chef, whether you don't know how to make scrambled eggs, you want the pan because of the whole world and like how it makes you feel. And that's always been the goal.
What's in the product pipeline? Like, what else are you excited about? What's happening?
I actually had a really exciting call today. So much. You know, I definitely want to...
She's like, I'm keeping you surprised. So can't tell you more, but so much.
I want to build a base core collection of the cookware. You know, the pan that's out is like the one and done pan. If you're going to get one thing, it's the pan. But I do think there's different sizes to come with that, different types of pan, just like the classic, all the pans and cookware that you need in one collection, that to be done, and more colors, which is going to be really, really fun. Incorporating the fashion aspect into it, it's like I'm talking about dish towels and other aprons, and just any kitchen accessory can be made so fashionable and fun. And it's like dressing up your kitchen is like the same as dressing up yourself. Like, I want to have the cutest dish towels that are printed and fun, and you want to switch out every month because you're just on a different vibe. Like, it's just been so fun talking about it too. I'm like, this can go so many places and expand into so many things. I'm like, every day I'll wake up with like a new random idea. It's so fun.
Okay, little lightning round.
Okay.
Favorite recipe?
Oh my gosh. Zucchini bread.
Oof. Kryptonite. Love that you just said that.
I love zucchini bread.
Favorite restaurant in LA?
Oh my gosh. Safi's.
Same.
So good.
Oh
like,
my God.
insane.
It is my favorite place. I love it there so much. There's
God,
nothing on the menu that's bad.
Same. Not one thing.
I'm addicted to Safi's.
Me
I wish
too.
that it was closer to me, but I don't care that it's not.
No, same. I'm like,
I don't care
I
that
will
it's
go
not.
any day, anytime.
Most recent purchase for your closet?
Today,
She's like, an hour
like
ago.
a few hours ago, I bought a bunch of jelly flats.
Cute. Favorite chef to follow right now?
Oh my gosh. I do love Wishbone Kitchen.
Me too.
I love her, and she's about to release a cookbook.
I pre-ordered it yesterday.
Oh my God. I
Literally
was like, I need to get this.
I went to pre-order and it was like May 13th, and I
No
was
way.
like, this is
I
the
don't care.
earliest I've pre-ordered anything in my whole life. But you know, you gotta
She's
support.
the best. I love her.
She's so good. I really love her like whole personality and vibe.
Me
and she's
too.
very approachable.
She shows her personality really well online. I admire her for that.
Something I love about you, and I feel like we kind of share this in common, is we work with a lot of our friends. So I know Lonnie shoots your campaigns, and like
Yes.
Dean Styles a lot, and you and your sister work together. Everyone's coming over for dinner.
Yep.
What are you cooking?
Oh my gosh. They would probably request randomly. I make this vegan bolognese that is so delicious. It was vegan because honestly, like half of my friends are vegan. So I know. So I would make it vegan, and it was so good that even the non-vegans were like, could you make that vegan bolognese? Like, it was just
Never heard
so
that
good
before.
randomly. That, garlic bread, salad,
Love.
chocolate chip cookies, some dessert,
Wow.
the best. That's like my dream meal.
Absolutely perfect. That
So
sounds
good.
so good.
Like, I need it now.
Beyond. We always close out the show asking one question, and that's
Okay.
if you could change one thing in fashion, what would it be?
I guess I would change, which this isn't really like a physical thing or item, but like the stigma that like you have to be trendy. If you can pull something off, you can pull something off. Like, you just have to have the attitude that you can pull something off. And I would somehow stop the hate of hating on people for whatever they want to wear. Like, I love seeing people be confident in wearing something. You could make me want to wear anything if you're confident in it.
Thanks for coming on the show. This was
Thank
so
you for
fun. I
having
loved
me.
having you. I had
This
your
was so
sister a few
fun.
years ago, so I was like, we gotta get.
Oh my gosh,
Sydney
I
in
told
here.
her, and I sent her a
know.
photo of my outfit. She's like, you look so cute. I was like,
She
we'll live like.
was the second ever guest
No
on the
way.
show.
A few
I swear
years
she
ago?
was 5. Not a few,
No.
5. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
When like I was recording in like a dingy little studio on Melrose,
No.
and we were in a box.
No.
We love the Carlsons.
I love you.
Thanks.